Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review. This is episode number 34, and this is reviewing the 34th episode of Boruto, Naruto Next Generation, Night of the Falling Stars. Yeah, this is the episode about the fish. Yep. So, because with Boruto's getting a little bummed up because, well, graduation is coming up, and he thinks there probably won't be time for him to hang out anymore after graduation. So, he decides, because he finds out, like, he's a little bummed out, so basically him, Shikida, and basically decides to go to the burger place, basically, because he is frequently on the series. And of course, he runs into Shikida, Inojin, and Chocho. He invites sit down with him, and they talk for a little while, and of course, Boruto has toes off, and then Mitsuki just pops up out of nowhere. It's just so funny. I'm wondering how, like, the only way I can think of that he probably popped it completely out of nowhere, how he managed to slip in without anybody noticing, is because, well, his father is Orochimaru, and basically he slithers like a snake. That's just my theory of how he got in there, because he slithers like a snake, so there's that. And then they're talking for a little while, and then they basically bring out the fish, basically, this whole episode is pretty much about. Called the Eternal Carp. Yes, it's this fish that, and they bring up a couple of stuff from the Ghost Arc, basically. First, they bring up, I'll bring up the second one in a minute. First, they bring up an actor who actually appeared in one episode of the filler arc. He was referenced a couple times after that, where apparently, since the episode, he has lost a ton of weight, because during the Ghost Arc, he had put on a bunch of weight because he kept eating lots of candy. Yeah, so he lost a bunch of weight, and now apparently he's got his own. I think it's like a fitness guru now, which is interesting. Excuse me, the fact he did. Maybe he'll go back to acting soon. Who knows? So I was like, hey, let's go to a place to go camping. So basically, you ask around. Basically, Shikida Inojin, basically, no problem. Chocho was like, basically, when it comes to food, I'm always in. Mitsuki is like, if you're going, I'm going. Yeah, it's one thing quite weird about Mitsuki. It's like, he always likes following Boruto around. Yeah, it's a bit odd, but yeah. But at this point, no one knows that his father is Orochimaru. A guy who Naruto pretty much didn't like very much for years. Especially since, yeah. Also in the manga, I know for a fact now apparently in the manga, like after the film, apparently Sanada forgot the fact that Mitsuki is Orochimaru's son, the same man who took away her father for years, before of course she was conceived, anyways. But yeah, but this is well before that they heard about that fact. So I'm glad the fact in the show they do not reveal that. It's not. I mean, there are some people basically who do know. I think, I don't know, maybe, I don't think Naruto knows. I don't know. He doesn't appear in the episode. The only one previous generation who does appear in this episode is Sakura. Yep, Sakura appears. Yep, basically, now, she appears like after he asks around like everybody, I guess, Dekai, Wannabe, Metal Lee, first time he's actually appeared in, I think he did appear in the previous episode. Yeah, he did. He did. Metal Lee doesn't really appear that much in this series for some strange reason. Yeah, that's quite weird though. Yeah, his father appeared a good amount of time. He appeared a lot, and he played a big part in the actual original Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, and yet his son Metal Lee, half the time he barely plays a role in any of the episodes. Heck, he was one of the victims of the Ghost Arc. Yeah, of course, him and Shino. And speaking of Shino, he does not make a physical appearance in this episode. Now, I accept the fact he didn't appear in the Sanada arc because they're away, but they're in the village. He's referenced once in this episode, but Shino does not make an appearance, which is a bit of a surprise because generally he does try to make a physical appearance in most of the series. So, this is the first time since the Sanada arc that he's actually not make a physical appearance in an episode. Now, some might be thinking maybe it's a filler episode, basically, but it does drive the plot along. Despite the fact you might see this episode as a bit of a filler, but it does advance the plot of the series. It does. It doesn't grind to a halt for an episode, just have fun. It actually does advance a bit and brings stuff in the previous stuff. So, But then basically, yeah, Sanada go along. Of course, the summary just happened to be right there, so why not? Yep. So they go out, and when they bring up say Sakura, she brings the fact that what happened when she Naruto and Sasuke were younger, basically of how good they were. They weren't good. It was for good. They were good friends in the academy, but they become very close friends after the academy. And she's like, yeah, Naruto is like, you mean Lord Hokage? and Sakura says, to me, he's always Naruto. Yeah. So I think that she's actually allowed to actually address Naruto by his first name. His first name, obviously, because she's known him for a long time. It obviously makes perfect sense to do that. I think the only people I've heard in the series who actually address Naruto by his first name, well, Hanada obviously does because she's his wife. I know that all the current Kage do that, but in the village itself, aside from Sakura, I know Kakashi does. Shikamaru does too. I know Sai does. And oh yeah, even Sasuke does. Sasuke probably would never dress up as Lord Hokage because he's known him for a long time. So yeah, so people who know Naruto for a long time are pretty much from what I can tell from the series are allowed to dress him by his first name. Heck, I'm trying to think it's Emma, I think her name is the daughter of the guy who owned the Ichi Ramen noodle shack, basically noodle stand, which later became an actual restaurant. She's perfectly allowed to dress him by his first name because she's known him for a long time. So it obviously makes sense that people who have known Naruto for a long time are allowed to address him by his first name. Though the kids basically probably also have, pretty much the current generation probably, all, except for of course Boruto and Hiwambi, are probably supposed to call him Lord Hokage, or at least Lord Seventh. But I know that Naruto tried to do that in the Naruto film where he wanted Boruto, when he was in the Hokage office, to address him as Lord Hokage or Lord Seventh. But Boruto didn't want to do that at all. Yeah. But I think Naruto, after that film, he realized though that, yeah, he can do that. Yep. So they go camping to this site, and apparently the site is actually co-owned by Dekai's company, father's company. So Dekai basically provides him the financing for this trip, which, hey, makes sense. He's the only one who actually the group was actually rich. Though he's not the only one who's actually rich. I believe that Hanada probably, because her clan is very wealthy. So the only characters who actually come from a wealthy family is Boruto, Dekai. Let's see, come from wealthy families. I believe Shikamaru. I believe Shikadai does because I believe because he got the Nikai clan. But yeah, there's a few members, but a few characters in the show come from wealthy families, but not all of them. So some of the characters did provide financing for the trip, which is fine. So they go out camping, and they set the tents. And when I saw the tent, I was expecting like the tents they used in the one tent that I actually did see in the original Naruto show, which looked like a regular tent I've actually put up when I got camping. But the tents they put up, basically they put up freaking teepees. Yeah, it's like 3 teepees. I am not kidding. It's 3 teepees. Unless, of course, there is tents like that. I have never seen tents like that that are factory made. But when I saw these things, I thought they look like freaking teepees. I don't know. Maybe it's how Japan basically does their camping style. I don't really know. It's really bizarre seeing that. They've never shown sleeping in these things for some reason. No. So they go fishing. They're out there for a good period of time. Boruto gets a bite after a while of everybody waiting. Of course, his line breaks. Then they said to have some curry. Which is something they have featured in the show before, though Boruto's father loves ramen noodles. Yeah, the curry is is interesting. Curry, from what I can tell, is basically this special rice with mixed with like vegetables and it has some gravy sauce on it. That's kind of what curry is, but it's quite interesting. It's basically served in a bowl, in a rice bowl. That's basically how it is. It's probably a pretty simple meal to make for cooking wise because in the case of ramen, instant ramen, basically you have to cook it in like microwave and stuff like that. But this is probably simple, probably for them to cook. So Boruto's not eating, so he decides to go out fishing, and then he's it's like okay, he's like going out for a while. You're gonna try once again to try fishing. He's there for a little while, and then Sadara and Sasumori come and basically just hang out with him. They talk for a bit. Sasumori basically is a little bit embarrassed. But, yeah. Yeah, she talks about Boruto changed her. Which, basically, some of this dialogue basically is kind of similar to that of basically of what Hanada basically felt as though when she was younger. It's similar dialogue, but not the same exact dialogue. It feels very similar. Because, well, some people tend to think that Sasumori is probably this generation's Hanada. In some ways, she kind of is. But the thing is, with her, she's not descended from a clan like Hanada is. So, after a while of talking, basically Boruto gets another bite, and it takes a little while. Of course, Sadara basically calls onto his coat, and then Sasumori's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna basically just be a shinobi." So she bites her thumb. Lots of blood on her hand, and she summons her little creature thing that's from the Ghost Arc, which, hey, it's been a while since she actually summoned that thing. It's been like 20 episodes since she summoned that thing, and Sadara was like, what? You can summon that? The only people who know she had that were Boruto, I know Shikadai didn't know, Inogen, and Mitsuke, and that's it. There are only 4 I can think of who actually knew, who actually knew about that. Dekai and Ina and Metal basically were victims, or the only ones in the group who actually were victims of the ghost stuff. But yeah, she brings the fact that her power is meant for a curse, but she uses to help people, which is fine. And of course, Iwami comes and uses his earth style, creates a mud wall. Shikadai uses his Shao Barasas, uses to hold Boruto in place. Metal throws out a bunch of shuriken to basically close up this thing's path. Dekai, Inogen basically just flies on his bird, doesn't do very much. Not even Dekai. Dekai and Inogen really don't do very much in this episode. Chocho gets a chance to show off for Jutsu to basically do some stuff, but out of all the characters appeared in the episode, it's like Chocho, it's like Inogen, who basically did a good amount for he had focus episode last time. So I guess kind of the reason that he doesn't do very much in this episode because he just had a big focus episode last one, which was a good episode. So, but Dekai has never technically had a focus. He did have one focus episode. Him and Iwambi, I think it was back in episode 15, I believe it was. It was just after. It was. I think it was like just after the Ghost Arc wrapped up. They did have a episode focus on these 2 characters. But I kind of felt as though that basically the shipping episode, probably later on down the line, maybe after they finish the graduation stuff, maybe they can have an episode focus on, well, Sasumori, basically, even though we got a chance to learn some of her backstory during the finale of the Ghost Arc. So they catch the Eternal Carp and they eat it, and they just enjoyed the fact that they have a good friendship. Basically, there's a line that basically he says at the beginning, like, "Is friendship forever?" From Sakura's perspective, when Sadara said that line to her, she says, "Yeah, it is." And then Sadara starts to believe it. Yep. It was a good happy moment to end the episode. Now, next week's episode is Parent-Teacher Conference. Basically, they don't know exactly what type of ninja that Boruto wants to be. Why not be like what his father does? Basically, be a sort of a bodyguard ninja. because that was one type of mission basically he was particularly good at. Now, also in this episode, I forgot to mention though, Shikadai was actually surprised that Boruto basically took initiative to lead something, because last time he led something was just in the previous major arc, which was in the Hidden Mist arc. Basically, though he was forced to do that. This time he had just decided to do it because he felt like it. Yeah, but this was a fun episode, to say the least. So next week's episode, basically, from teaser, looks like Shino's gonna make an appearance, Anko's gonna make an appearance again, Hanada is gonna return, first time in, I'd say, a couple episodes. She was actually featured 2 episodes back in the episode just after they finished up the Hidden Mist arc. So it's been a good couple episodes, but I'm glad the fact she's making another appearance in the series. Looks like Hiwambi is gonna make another appearance, even though she made an appearance in the previous episode. Yeah. So it looks like a good chunk of the characters, like the parents of all the characters, are going to appear in the next episode, which is going to be nice. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting episode, next one. I heard it was going to be called a triplicate meeting, where it's going to set up the 3-person cells. That's what it looks like. That's what the description I heard was going to be next week's episode. From the teaser. Oh, there is one thing I've got to bring up before I end this. Before I talk more about the next episode. There is a post-credit scene in this one, where just before they have the teaser, and it's Tasuri, the main villain of the last, makes his 3rd appearance on the series, and he's talking about Boruto, and all of a sudden there's like this glass around him starts breaking for some reason. I'm like, that's bizarre. It's like something is coming, but probably won't be for a few episodes. But it's nice to see the guy. I haven't seen him in quite a while. Yeah. It is something, though. I'm very happy to see the guy, because the guy was a pretty good villain. Though from what I've heard from critical reception of him for the last, they thought he was a weak villain. I thought he was a pretty good villain. He had a pretty good plot. He had a pretty good plan, though he wanted to destroy Earth, mind you. But he's since reformed. And he's practically the only person living on the moon since his whole clan is dead. But it's always nice to see the guy, and he's the only, I should point this out though, he is the only villain from the original Naruto era, from the films, who actually has made physical appearances in the actual series. And my theory, the reason why he makes appearances in the series, because the last is canon. Yeah, because that film was canon, so that means that he is allowed to make appearances in the series, no problem. So yeah, there's that. But it's awesome. I was so shocked to see him. Like, it had been a while. I think the last I saw him was end of the Ghost arc. I think that was the last time I physically saw the guy. So yeah, it had been a while since I've seen him. But yeah, also apparently the guy is dying. Yeah, he saw coughing up blood for some reason. I thought that was a little bizarre. I mean, did he get stabbed? I didn't see any wounds on him. Maybe he was poisoned. I have seen it where in some types of fiction, basically, if you get a particular type of poison, you start coughing up blood. Yeah, I have seen that before. I'm not sure what the name of the poison is, but there is a poison I've seen in fiction. I don't know the name of the poison, but there is one that basically when someone's poisoned, they cough up blood. And he's coughing up blood for some reason. I hope they don't necessarily kill him off, because I kind of like him as a villain. I kind of like him as a villain. But if you ever meet Boruto in person, instead of meeting him in his dreams, I remember from the film The Last, Sanada says he's always welcome to come to Earth, despite the crap he pulled, because people would forgive him for it, because he basically was following a corrupt version of someone's vision. Yeah, there's that. But as for next episode, oh yeah, and there's what's his name? The guy who was Naruto's sensei. I'm trying to remember his name though. I think his name was Aruka. Yeah, Aruka is gonna make an appearance. Yeah, I think the last time I saw him physically appear in the series was at the start of the Hidden Mist arc. Yeah, that was the last time I saw him. So it's been a while, so there's that. But next episode is gonna be pretty interesting. Yep, start of the graduation stuff. Though I have heard that Kakashi's making an appearance in this particular next arc. So after 2 standalone episodes, we're going to have another arc. Okay, fine. Perfectly fine indeed. This was a good episode. I highly recommend it, basically. And like I've said, and a friend of mine agrees, my friend agrees with me on this, you don't always have to have every single episode be plot-driven. Just have an episode where you have fun. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you don't have an entire arc, basically, of filler. But this episode, I didn't feel as though it was filler, per se. It was a little bit of filler, but it did advance the plot of the series. It did move it forward. That's just my opinion, anyways, on that. So, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for next week's episode, which is episode 35, the Parent-Teacher Conference. That should be interesting next week, okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.